Mark, you've called us from Steenberg. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. John, I'm not shocked, and I don't feel sorry for the advocate that died this morning. This is happening all the time on the street. Children get shot here. Now, this man that died this morning, John, is one of the scumbags. He represented all the rubbish on the Cape Plate. You know, John, when you look at Cape Town, when you look at the mountain, when you look at our seas, when you look at what we have in Cape Town, we have one of the most beautiful cities in the world. We cannot enjoy it on the Cape Flats because of them, because of their greed. This morning, somebody died, right, with a black suit on. On the Cape Flats, his friends are dying every day. There's no big news about it.
Well, I have spoken about that. I addressed that matter 5 minutes ago. So I appreciate that there are people being killed and there is very little, if any, media coverage of their deaths. But you called Pete Mahalik scumbag. I mean, that is a horrible thing to say. The criminal justice system, Mark, I'll let you speak. Please let me speak. The criminal justice system needs people who can defend folk who are accused of a crime. A cornerstone of our justice system is innocent until proven guilty. And how do you defend yourself unless you have a lawyer, an attorney, or an advocate, depending on the court system, who is skilled in defending those that are accused of crimes?
John, he was last year or year before last, just before that other attorney was shot and killed somewhere in close to Athlone. He was implicated with Mark Lifman, and his name was mentioned with him and with this racketeers, protection, security racketeers in Long Street.
Having your name mentioned does not make you guilty of anything, Mark. You must understand that.
John, come on, man. I'm not a fool. I live here on the Cape Flats. This man has caused a lot of problems with whoever is involved. This is a gang-related thing, John. Why would they shoot him and his child at his school? Eh? Okay. If this man was innocent, John, why would they shoot him?
By implication, you're saying he kind of got what he deserved. You are, by implication, saying that his 8-year-old child deserved to be shot as well because he had the stupidity.
All the other children that he shot on the Cape Flats?
That is obscene and evil and wrong.
No, but what about the Cape Flats children that's shot every day?
It is obscene. There is a lot of outcry about the violence against children in South Africa.
Outcry?
There is.
It is because
every time. Mark.
This gang is now taken to Redham House. Now it's a big thing, John.
No, Mark.
John.
Mark,
I will every day on the Cape Flats.
And we speak often about it. We speak often to councillors, we speak to members of community police forums. Well, it's not my job in the media to do something about it. I speak about it, I highlight it. I'm not defending him. I am saying that you have no right to call Mark. Do you have absolutely no right to call Pete Mahalik a scumbag?
John?
That's my only point.
Let me say this. How many children were shot on the Cape Flats? How many? Right? They are shot daily.
And Mark, Mark, you're being illogical.
Yes, let me be illogical. Have you slept one night on the Cape Flats, John?
No.
Well, then, why are you talking? You're unqualified to say anything. The Cape Flats, John, this is happening all the time there. I am going to tell you, John, check the newspapers tomorrow morning. Go into the Cape Flats. You can hardly walk in certain areas, right? Now it's happening in Greenpoint and in Sea Point, and it's now you evil. Use the stuff, John.
Mark,
right?
the problem with what you're saying to me is that it is factually incorrect. You are making out that there is never any coverage of the death of children, drive-by shootings at school, gang members running onto school properties and knifing children. You're saying that there's never any coverage of that. You are. You are. You are saying. You are.
Words in my mouth, John.
No, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm listening to you. You're saying that only because this happened outside Redham are we paying attention, and that is not true.
Yes, John. Now, John, let's go to the Cape Flats and see how many children were shot this morning. Are you making a big deal out of it?
Mark, did you hear what I said earlier?
Say again, John.
That when there are 55 murders a day in South Africa, how do you decide which ones to give coverage?
That's your problem, John. I cannot talk for you. I'm not the media. I'm simply saying, John, have you slept one night on the Cape Flats? Have you seen what gangsters are doing? They now have to put protective fences around schools. This is one boy that has lost his life, and we said about it, John. It's not a good thing that has happened. But, John, don't highlight it and make it as big as Table Mountain. It happens all the time on the Cape Flats.
And we
John.
talk about it all the time, the fact that
yes,
it happens on the Cape Flats.
John, but I am saying leave it, right? His name and he's connected to gangsters. That's the type of deaths they are.
That's not me cutting him off. That's his airtime running out or whatever the case may be. Look, I have never spent a night on the Cape Flats. I have many times said on the radio that it is extraordinary to me that I live in Lakeside, and as the crow flies, it's 1.5 kilometers, 2 kilometers to a place like Lavender Hill. And I can sometimes, if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can hear shots being fired. And how is it that we continue to have a society where a middle-class person can live in Lakeside and largely, I mean, I'm not immune to the possibility of violence. There are murders that happen in Lakeside, not nearly as many as happen in Lavender Hill, but there are, and there are home evasions, and there is violence carried out against middle-class residents in Lakeside, but nothing like on the scale of what happens in Steenberg and in Lavender Hill. So how is it possible that we've created a society in which a person sleeping at point A is pretty safe, whereas a person living in area B is not safe at all? Not in their homes, not as they play in the gardens, if they have gardens, not on the streets, not as they go to the shops, not as they're waiting for a taxi. They are not safe, whereas I largely am. And how is it that we've built that society? How is it that that society has allowed to continue to entrench itself rather than to be improved? Why is it that in many ways the situation seems to get worse rather than better? And to have superficial conversations about you only ever highlight the murder of a white advocate outside a private school in a suburb. It's true that that is more likely to get more media attention than the death of an unemployed ex-flower seller. Of course it is. Everywhere in the world that is true. It is more true in South Africa because the numbers are so much more horribly skewed. But we need to have long, in-depth discussions about why it is that this exists, why it is that the authorities seem to be able to do so little to change it. And for Mark and I to shout at each other on the radio contributes how much? 0. Absolutely 0. Less than 0. It takes us backwards.